Hello everyone, Akhil Rajaratnam here. So let's start today's daily news analysis with a very important development in the geopolitics. So that is Operation Sindoor. You might have seen in the news that Indian military has launched a coordinated strike on 9 locations in Pakistan as well as Pak administered Kashmir. So this marks the most intense military engagement or exchange between the two countries, India and Pakistan, over 2 decades. And obviously, in the coming days also we'll get to know more geopolitical implications of this particular move. So let's wait for that. So with that note, let's move on to today's daily news analysis. All right, so these are the 4 topics which I've taken for today's discussion. The first one is related to judiciary, how the judiciary maintains accountability in this from the text and context page of Hindu. So here, how the judiciary, what are the mechanisms in which the judiciary ensures transparency to their internal checks and balances. So all these things we'll be discussing in this particular topic. Okay. Second one is related to India's rank in the Human Development Index. Okay. So as per the latest rankings, India has moved up 3 spots up in the human development ranking. Okay, so the third topic is related to India UK free trade agreement. So what are the provisions of the? We'll go with some basics like what is a free trade agreement and all. And after that, we'll move on to the what is actually the specialty of this particular free trade agreement between India and US. Okay, all right. The first one is related to a particular term is also coming, that is safe harbor clause is also coming. Okay, so this is related to the amendments in the IT Act and as well as how this IT Act is influencing the intermediaries like YouTube, Facebook, Meta and all, how it is affecting. Okay, so like that we will be discussing all these things in the fourth discussion. Okay, all right. So let me introduce you to 2 of our products. The first one is a 1-year prelims comes integrated course. So this will be for the aspirants who are aiming the 2026 UPSC CSE examination. Okay, and also we have a 2-year prelims comes mains integrated course. So this will be for the aspirants who are aiming the 2027 uh, course. Okay, so we have both. We'll be covering both prelims as well as mains aspect in this, and also we'll be having regular testing as well as training for this. Also we'll have prelims test series as well as mains test series also as part of this program. Okay, all right. So moving on to first topic related to the judicial accountability. Okay, obviously it's a very important topic from the GS2 perspective, both for prelims as well as mains. We have a lot of facts coming in this particular topic. Okay, so what is the issue going on? Let's begin with what is actually the triggering conversation. So this was actually something which was triggered by the vice president's remark. Okay, not just vice president, even some other dignitaries, they have also brought that the role and accountability of the judiciary in India has had some deterioration in the recent years. Okay, so the latest remark was from the vice president Jagdeep Dhangar. Okay, so we'll see previous year question in this regard. Critically examine the Supreme Court's judgment on National Judicial Appointments Commission Act 2014 with reference to appointment of judges of higher judiciary in India. Okay. All right. So what are the concerns raised by the Vice President Jagdeep Dhangar? So he made a very strong observation related to it. Sometimes it's we might feel like this is some a little bit harsh also. Okay. So he said like he said things like the judges are acting like a super power, acting like a super parliament, and that judiciary is not accountable to the law of the land. Law of the land is our constitution. So they are acting like a parliament. Parliament obviously they are accountable to the constitution as well as the people, but here judiciary, even though they are acting like a super parliament, they are not accountable to the law of the land or the constitution which they are supposed to uphold. It's a very serious allegation which has been made by the Vice President of India, and he even questioned the Supreme Court for giving directions to the president as well as governor. Okay, that's also written in the constitution, but still he even questioned that also. So essentially, he raised many concerns that the judiciary might be crossing the boundaries. So who has set these boundaries? It is actually the constitution who has set the boundaries. But he said that the whatever boundaries the constitution has set, they have already crossed that also. Okay, so what does this mean? We need to understand what does this mean. So to understand this, we need to first look at what is actually the judiciary's role in our democracy. So who has defined this role? It is actually the constitution or the law of the land which has defined the uh, role of judiciary in our uh, role of judiciary in India. Okay. All right. So what is actually the constitution saying? So judiciary, basically the role of judiciary is a interpreter and guardian of the constitution. Okay. So interpret the constitution, maybe whatever is written there, interpret it according to that particular a particular case or maybe particular situation. We have to interpret and also ensure that no one is violating the constitution. Okay. So the vice president said that the judiciary, who is supposed to guard the constitution, they themselves are violating the constitution. So this is what they has actually said. Okay. So and while the constitution doesn't directly mention something known as separation of powers, it's very important from Indian constitution perspective. Separation of powers means what? So power is coming in three different ways. One is executive, one is a legislature. Legislature. So legislature means is actually the parliament is coming in the legislature only. So these legislature, they will be making the laws. They'll be making the laws, and executive is also there. So executive will be implementing the laws. Executive will be implementing the laws, and also we have judiciary. So they will be what they'll be doing. They'll be interpreting. They'll be interpreting the constitution, and also they ensure that they are acting as a guardian of the constitution. Whether the legislature is doing something wrong or maybe the executive is doing something wrong. So these are the judiciary is the people who will be guarding this constitution. So this is not directly mentioned in the constitution. No separation of power. The term is not mentioned, but still in the later cases like the Keshavananda Bharati case in 1973, the court itself has said that the separation of powers is a major, it's a basic structure of a constitution itself. Okay. So this is the basic thing behind the separation of powers in India. All three branches should be acting in a separate way without interference. Okay. So if one leg of a maybe a chair, a tripod, one leg becomes too long or maybe too short, what will happen? The tripod won't be function. Okay, so this is exactly what is happening. Maybe the judiciary has crossed the limit and it is affecting the other two branches also. So that's why separation of power matters. Okay, it keeps it ensures that the system is balanced. There's a balance in the system. Okay, so now let's talk about how the constitution is actually empowering the judiciary. So obviously constitution, if it's empowering maybe judiciary, executive or even legislature, it is through the articles or whatever is written in the constitution only. Okay, so we'll see some of the important articles related to this. Okay, article 13 is very important. Article 13. Okay, start from beginning itself. So article 13 is something from which judiciary has got a very important power, that is a judicial review. That is a judicial review. Okay, judicial review means what? If executive or if legislature is doing something wrong, the judiciary has the power to review that particular thing. So even that is also not explicitly mentioned in the constitution, but they have derived this power from article 13. Article 13 only, and article 13 obviously it's a fundamental right also. Okay, fundamental rights also, and according to article 32 also. According to article 32, so this is related to constitutional remedies. Constitutional remedies. So according to this constitutional remedies, if someone has been denied or maybe there is an issue with the fundamental right, so they can directly approach the judiciary. So this is what article 32 is also saying, and obviously this is also a fundamental right. So these two are the very important articles in which is giving power to fundamental rights, which are giving power to judiciary. Okay, so similar like article 32, we have an article 226 for the high court also. Article 32 is for Supreme Court, approaching the Supreme Court. Article 226 is for approaching the high court. Okay, and obviously this is having a little more broader scope also. Okay, another important one, articles 124 to 147, basically everything related to this judiciary, like the structure, the power, everything related to Supreme Court is mentioned in this particular article. So that is article 124 to article 147. Okay, another one, article 142. Article 142. So this article 142 allows the SC, Supreme Court, to ensure that there is complete justice in any case. Complete justice in any case, and these provisions don't give judiciary super parliament status. Okay, so even though they are saying that there should be complete justice, they have to ensure that there is complete justice, but it should not be beyond the constitution. It should not be beyond the constitution. It should not be bypassing all the legs of this our democracy. Okay, that should not be given. So they should have a responsibility to uphold the constitution. So that is actually the main purpose of the judiciary, to interpret and be the guardian of the constitution. Okay, it's not like bypassing all the law to make the laws, to implement the laws. So that power is not um, within the judiciary. Okay, so basically no one is above the constitution, and even not above the parliament, or maybe not above the executive also. Everything is equal only, and everyone's action has to uh, conform to the constitutional values as well as the constitutional morality. This term is very important, constitutional morality. Maybe in your answers and all you can write this term. Okay, but here's where the debate heats up. Okay, whether we should go with judicial independence, whether we should go with judicial independence, or whether we go with the judicial accountability. Okay, so there should be a balance. So basically there should be a balance between judicial independence and judicial accountability. When one is going above, then the problem happens. So this is basically the debate. Okay, so basically we need to conform with the balance. Okay, so how, in which all ways judiciary is given independence, which all ways judiciary is given independence. One, judges must be independent. They should be free from the political pressure, so that they can make fair decisions, and that's why they have the security of tenure also. It's not like they can directly be removed. If the government is not satisfied with their judgment, they can be directly removed. It's not like that. They have been given security of tenure by the from the constitution itself, and their salaries also fixed. So in that way also they cannot be under disadvantage. Salaries, they cannot be under disadvantage on the salaries, and also no political post retirement jobs is also cannot be accepted by this judges. Even though we can see that little more political appointments are happening, but still some quasi judicial bodies and all, they have been given appointments. Okay, so that sometimes that is also facing a criticism. Okay, but that's a discussion for another day. Okay, all right. So their appointments and the transfers are managed internally. Internally means even they are also the executive or the legislature has no role. Okay, the judiciary appoints or judiciary removes. All these things are happening internally only. Okay, so that system we call it as a collegium system. We call it as a collegium system, and it was developed through three important cases: the first judge's case, second judge's case, and third judge's cases. So three important cases in 1982, 1993, and 1998. Okay, so this has got a lot of advantages, but obviously it has faced a lot of disadvantages also. Okay, the problem is the critics argue that the system is very much opaque. Very much opaque means it lacks transparency, even diversity. It's lack diversity, and it's very much prone to nepotism. Very much prone to nepotism, and nobody knows what is happening within this collegium system. Okay, so when the parliament understood that, okay, this is not going in the right way, so to bypass this particular opaqueness, or maybe which the problem in which judiciary is only handling everything within themselves, the parliament has enacted something known as a National Judicial Appointments Commission Act. Okay, by amending the constitution, the 1990 Constitutional Amendment Act, the parliament has made the National Judicial Appointments Commission. Okay, so here the composition will be, the CJI will be part of it, two senior most judges of the Supreme Court will be part of it. So these are part of the judiciary itself. So obviously judiciary is having a role in this, and other than that, even people from executive is also part of it. For example, law minister is a part of the executive, so he will also be part of it, and two eminent persons will also be part of it. Okay, so this was actually the composition of the National Judicial Appointment Commission, but Supreme Court said that no, this is not needed. Okay, it has to be done internally. There should not be any interference from the other wings of the democracy. Okay, so like that way, Supreme Court has struck down this in 2015 in the SC Advocates on Record Association with Union of India case. The Supreme Court has struck down this. Okay, so again from here onwards also again further tension started, and many people started criticizing the Supreme Court also for striking down this particular amendment, and saying that again they want to go with this nepotism, they want to go with this opacity also. Okay, so like that way it was a it was this more democratic. The government want to bring in more democracy, but still again that was struck down by the court itself. Okay, so the court believed that judicial supremacy will be lost. This is coming because law ministers also, maybe the people who are nominated by the executive is also part of this. So like that way they have struck down this. Okay, all right. So that brings us to the discussion on judicial accountability. Okay, so what is this judicial accountability? So judicial accountability means that judges must justify their conduct and decisions. They should be justifying their conduct and decisions, and they should ensure that there should be responsibility without compromising the independence. Okay, that should be internally done. That should be internally done. And even judges also said that okay, they will be doing it internally itself. We don't need anyone else to monitor us, but we will be doing it internally itself. And obviously, it has got a lot of pros as well as cons, because pros means it will be enhancing the transparency and public trust, because other wings are not part of it, and also arbitrary decision making or misconduct is also not done, and it encourages ethical and disciplined behavior in the judiciary also. Okay, the cons is the political misuse or accountability mechanism. So that might be a threat to the judicial independence. So that is a major issue which we might face. Okay, and also judges fear that there will be a backlash for the progressive and unpopular verdict. So sometimes whatever the media says, they have to go with that. So that is also one of the major thing in which the judges were not in favor of this. Okay, all right. So yeah, so to avoid all these things, many of the institutions have recommended. Many recommendations came from some of the important reputed institutions. For example, like the Law Commission. The Law Commission in the 121st report. In the 121st report, so they suggested that why not we go with the code of conduct? Why not we go with the code of conduct, and a complaint system should also be there. Okay, so the 121st report suggested a code of conduct for judges. It suggested a code of conduct for the judges. Code of conduct for the judges. So even many things related to this happened in the later period also, like judges have to declare their assets. So that now also you might have seen in today's newspaper, there was like the many of the judges, Supreme Court judges, so they have declared their asset. Okay, and another thing came from the second ARC report, second administrative reforms report. So they proposed that an independent grievance redressal body should be there. Independent grievance redressal body should be there to address these concern. Okay, and the government also did something, or maybe the legislature, parliament also did something. They brought in the Judicial Standards and Accountability Bill in 2010. Judicial Standards and Accountability Bill was brought in 2010. So the aim of this is to set the rules for judges' behavior and their public asset declaration. But again, what happened in 2015? Again, that happened earlier also. This did not pass. People were opposing this. Okay, so this made into a crossroad. So how do we preserve this particular judicial independence while still making sure that it is responsible to the people, or maybe they are having the judicial accountability? Okay, so we have to come up with new innovative ideas. One, obviously we need to refine this judicial standards and accountability bill, so that it should be catering to both the parties. For example, it should be okay for the judges also, and it should be okay for the people also. It should be done. The judicial standards and accountability bill, clear safeguards should be there. Okay, another one, an all India judicial service, all India judicial services. So this will ensure that, like the civil services, IAS, IFS, IPS, and all. So like that way, there should be a all India judicial service. So this will, the argument is like this will be making the system more transparent, more merit based, and even the recruitment will also be better in this stage. So nepotism can be avoided in this stage. Okay, and also related to the collegial system. So maybe we can go with the NJAC. NJAC, more diluted version of NJAC, or maybe making the collegial system little more transparent. For instance, for publicly stating why a judge was selected, or maybe why a judge was not selected also. Okay, so that is also very much needed. Okay, and obviously the judicial pendency or judicial infrastructure has to be improved, like the this will help to ensure that judges are also not overburdened. Even the pendency of the case are reduced, backlogs are reduced, even judges strength are also a little more increased also. That is also needed. So all this should be ensuring that this is we should be promoting the constitutional morality. Constitutional morality should be upheld. Okay, whether it be the judges or whether it be politicians or whether it be bureaucrats, so everyone should ensure that constitutional morality should be upheld irrespective of the post they are in. Okay, so this is the some of the important things which we can do in this regard. So what is the way forward? What's the big picture here? So this isn't just about what the courts or laws, it's actually big picture. Okay, it's about the constitutional morality. So it's about the health of the entire democracy itself, whether it be executive or whether it be legislature or whether it be judiciary also. Okay, so a strong, fair and independent judiciary. So that is needed to support the executive, to support the legislature, maybe to uphold the constitution itself, like what is actually the role of judiciary. Okay, all right. So that note, let's move on to the next topic. So this is related to the Human Development Index, Human Development Index or HDI. This report was released on Tuesday, and in this, India has climbed up 3 spots, and now the rank is 130. So among 193 countries, India's rank is 130 in the 2025 Human Development Report. Okay, so we'll discuss regarding what is this report, who releases it, and all these things, and also related to the what the highlights related to India also will be discussed. Okay, all right. So these kind of reports are also very much important from the exam point of view, especially like who releases it. And okay, all right. So previous year question in this regard: despite the consistent experience of high growth, India still goes with lowest indicators of human development. Examine the issues that make balanced and inclusive development elusive. Okay, 2019. Right. So what is this Human Development Index or HDI? So this is released by the UN organization, so that is United Nations Development Program or UNDP. United Nations Development Program or UNDP. So what is the purpose of it? To evaluate and rank the countries based on their overall human development. Overall human development. It's not like overall GDP or the overall economy, but it's related to the overall human development. So what is GDP? GDP means it, to make it simple, it focuses only on money. But here it is not. HDI looks at when how people are living. How people are living in more holistic. It's about how healthy we are, how educated we are, or maybe how well we live itself. Okay, so it's a basically it's a more holistic way of discussing the well-being of the people as well as the entire country itself. Okay, specifically it what combines three important dimensions. So one is health, another one is education, and another one is standard of living. Okay, so based on these are the basic parameters which HDA will be um, considering. Okay, so health means it is measured by the life expectancy at birth. Okay, which means how long people will be living. How long people will be living, life expectancy at birth. Okay, think of it like how people are, how the average duration, the average years the people will be living in that particular country. Very simple, very simple. Okay, so next one is education. Okay, education. So education means this has two parts. One is the mean years of schooling, that will be for adults. Mean years of schooling for adults. So basically, how the adults typically went to school, how many years that adults typically went to school. Another one is expected years of schooling. So this will be for children. So this is like how long kids entering the school today are expected to study. Okay, so one is mean years of schooling and another one is expected years. Okay, one is mean years of schooling, this is for adults. Another one is expected years, so this is for the children. Okay, so this is also a very good, very important parameter for understanding this. Okay, now this is a very important thing, standard of living. How do we measure the standard of living? So obviously health means this is kind of what expected value, life expectancy. Education also means something related to school. Standard of living, how will we measure the standard of living? So here a new term is coming, so that is gross national income per capita. Gross national income per capita, we call it as a GNI per capita. Even though we are not considering the GDP for considering human development index, but standard of living we are considering gross national income per capita. Okay, again this is also adjusted to the purchasing power of that particular country. So that's kind of a fancy way of saying that how much access do people have to the money and the resources that allow them to live decently. Okay, so this will be little varying, because how will we measure that, how the people are living decently? Okay, so this is one of the criticism which India is giving, like how will we measure how people are living decently? So in different areas people can live decently based on different types of income. For example, with 100 rupees some people can be happy, but with 100 rupees some other people will not be able to be happy. Okay, so this is something which is very much criticized with regard to this HDA. Okay, so the value will be ranging from 0 to 1. It's not like 0 to 100 or maybe 0 to 500. It's just from 0 to 1. Okay, so HDA score of 0 means it's a lowest, 1 means it's a highest. So closer you are to 1, the better your country is doing in terms of this overall human development. Okay. Okay. So now let's see how India has performed. So this is actually the report of 2023, based on that metrics only. It was released in 2025. Okay. So here you can see that the metric is there and also value position. So India's rank is 130 out of 193 countries. Okay. So what is the score? 2023, so 0.685. So previous year it was 0.676. So slight improvement is there. Okay, so based on this the country will be uh, categorized in a particular in a category also, development category also. So India is in the medium human development category, medium human development category. Okay, so what has changed? So what is actually this improvement? How we went from 0.676 to 0.685. Okay, so the life expectancy, starting from the life expectancy itself, so it has rose to 72 years. Now a person will be average, on an average a person will be living till 72 years. Okay, so it was 58.6 in 1990. From 58.6 in the 6 average life years in 1990, now we have rose to 72. So that is a improvement of the health standards of that particular country. Okay, schooling also has changed. It has increased to 13 years. Earlier it was 8.2 years in 1990. Now it is average is 13 years. Okay, so GNI per capita, again this has also increased to 9046, 9046.76. So in 1990 it was 2167. Okay, poverty reduction, we were able to make sure that over 135 million people have been moved out of this multidimensional poverty. Okay, so these are actually the statistics related to, or maybe how we have progressed from 1990 till here itself. Okay, but there is an issue. Now also we are somewhere close to the end only. Okay, out of 193 countries we are in 130 only. This is not something which we have to be much proud of. Okay, even though the government is saying many criticisms are there, but still there are a lot of things which we need to improve. So not everything is improving in the same rate. So that's also major issue. So what are the concerns related to this? Okay, so India's HDI score, that takes a 30.7 percentage, 30.7 percentage hit when adjusted with inequality. Okay, so this is also happening. Inequality adjusted as well as gender adjusted HDI is also there. So that's one of the highest losses in our region. Highest loss in our region. So why does this happen? Why does it? Because when you average out this data, it hides the gaps. So some people are doing much better than others. Not everyone is doing good, good in an equal way. Some people are doing much better than others. So this is something called inequality. Inequality. So when inequality adjusted HD comes in, it tells how evenly this development is spread. In India, this has this is a major issue. Okay, uh, inequality is a major issue which is happening in India, okay, especially when it comes to gender inequality. Gender inequality. Okay, so let's break it further on. For example, on one hand, we have great progress in health and education. On the other hand, we are still seeing very low female labor force participation is there, or maybe limited political representation for the women is there. So that is also happening. Underrepresentation in the decision making. So that's also happening. So all these things are making sure that India is not rising to a position which we need. Okay. All right. So that's related to HDI. Moving on to the next topic. Again, this is related to the India UK FTA, India UK Free Trade Agreement. So again, this is also very important from the international relations aspect. Okay, what is an FTA? Some basic terms are also needed, especially from the prelims point of view. Okay, so we'll start with the basics. The previous year question: in the context of which of the following do you sometimes find the terms amber box, blue box, and green box? Okay, kind of terms. So like that way, FTA, SEPA, like the terms are also important. Okay. All right. So what is a free trade agreement? What is a free trade agreement, or what is an FTA? Okay, so basically, countries impose tariffs. Tariffs means the taxes on import. So that we call it as a tariffs, and even quotas also. Quota means limits to how much or how much of something can be imported. For example, tariff means 20%. If the car is getting imported, will be imposing. You'll have to pay 20% of the price of the car. So this is tariff. Okay, quota means what? You can import car, but you can import only 2 cars. You will not be able to. You should not import more than 2 cars. So this is quota. Okay. So free trade agreement. This is actually a special pass. Maybe if we might be having a policy for everyone, but in that this is a special pass given to special countries in which we are actually having free trade agreement. So this special pass ensures that, or maybe it removes or it reduces the fees and the restrictions between two or more countries. So it makes sure that trade is more easier, or maybe it's more cheaper also. Okay. So in India, these agreements are negotiated by Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So they are actually in charge of reducing the, negotiating this particular agreements. Okay. All right. So now in this FTA also we have different types of FTAs now. Okay. We'll see a small table related to what are the different types of FTA. So one is a bilateral FTA. Bilateral FTA, like the name suggests, bilateral. It means it will be between two countries. For example, India, Sri Lanka, maybe India, uh, Bangladesh, India, Myanmar. So this is bilateral FTA. Okay. So multilateral FTA means it will be an agreement between more than two countries. Multilateral, not bi, but still multilateral will be there. Okay. Maybe regional. Sorry, more than more countries will be there. Okay. And another one is regional FTA. Regional FTA means regional blocks will be there. For example, like the ASEAN bloc will be there, the Mercosur bloc will be there. So regional FTAs are also there between the countries in that particular region. Okay, that is regional FTA. Okay, another one is customs union. Customs union, again, this is also the next level of FTA. Next level of this free trade agreement. For example, like South African customs union or European Union. So there they are having little more deep integration. The shared policies will be coming. The European Union, they are also having this kind of thing. Okay, all right. Next one is economic union. Economic union, European Union is coming in the economic union. It will be more integrated. More integrated FTA will be coming. Okay. Next one is a preferential free trade agreement. Okay. So again here the tariffs will be much lower. Tariffs will be there, but tariffs will be lower. That too it will not be on every good, but on selected goods the tariffs will be much lower. Okay. So that is preferential free trade agreement. So India is having a PTA with the India Mercosur bloc. Okay. After that, we have the SEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or the SEPA will be there. Okay. So India and Japan are having a SEPA agreement. So this will be even more broader. So trade in goods will be there, services will be there, even investment, intellectual property, right. So there also will be having a agreement will be there. Okay. So after that, we have the CESA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. So this is similar to SEPA only, but includes even more broad. For example, like the cultural cooperation will be there, educational contributions will be there, like that. For example, take the case of Singapore. India is having a diaspora is also there. A lot of Tamil diaspora and is also there in Singapore. So there we go with a little more broader cooperation. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to what has happened between India and UK. India and UK. Okay. So yesterday, May 6, 2025, India and UK, they finalized a free trade agreement. It's a very huge step. UK is one of the major trade partners of India. So obviously, it's a very huge step in strengthening the economic ties between the two nations. Okay, especially after UK has moved out of the BRICS agreement. So and also another thing is we were in negotiation for a lot of time. It took a lot of months to this negotiation and planning and all these things. Okay, so we'll see the major highlights of this. First one is the duty-free access. Duty-free access for the Indian exports. Almost 99%. Almost 99% of Indian exports UK will face zero import duty. No import duty for almost 99% of the agreements, which means Indian products and from garments to maybe even to gems will be cheaper in the British markets. Okay, and more comprehensive competitive prices will also be there. Okay. All right, next one, automotive sector. Okay, automotive sector, the tariffs will be reduced from 100% to 10%. You heard it right, it's 100%. Sometimes to the foreign, the British cars and all. Why we are seeing very less number of British cars here compared to other countries? Because in India we are actually having a very high tariffs for this import of cars to promote the Indian industries. Okay, so here will be reducing from 100% to 10%. So that's something which is very huge. Okay, all right. So tariff reduction on Indian imports. So import duties on 90% of the tariffs lines, with 85% of these becoming fully tariff free within a decade. Okay, so that's also very huge what development in this field. Okay. All right. So next one is product specific reductions for Indian customers. The reduced import duties on products like the cost of cosmetics will be there, aerospace components, so medical device. So this will ensure that this is causing a chain reaction. So for example, if medical devices are the price of the medical device are reduced, means what will happen? Surgeries might become cheap, or maybe the accessibility to this would hospitals become much more cheaper. So again, this will cause a good chain reaction. Okay, so that is also going to happen. Okay, and labor intensive sector gains will also be there. Well, more export opportunities, and especially India is one of the leaders in the textile industry. Textile industry, job creation will also be improving in these sectors. Okay, that's also one of the important uh, things. Okay, all right. Moving on to next topic, again this is talking regarding the safe harbor rules. Okay, safe harbor rules is related to the IT Act, IT Act of 2000. Okay, here intermediaries is coming. Intermediaries means YouTube platforms like YouTube, social media. So there, these social media posts. So even if you post in social media, if you are posting it in your Twitter account, or if you are posting it in your Facebook account, this YouTube has very less control, or maybe the Facebook, or whoever is that, they'll have very less control over that. Okay, so for that we have actually given some concessions to these intermediaries. Okay, so these are known as a safe harbor provisions. Okay, all right. So we'll give you a brief background of this. What is actually the issue? Previous year question in this regard: genetic engineering appraisal committees constitute under which? Okay, so understanding the safe harbor rule. So what is actually the present context is the Pahalgam attack happened. Pahalgam terror attack happened. There has been a serious crackdown on this fake news, especially things related to Hindu. Things will be affecting the Hindu-Muslim unity. Okay, so that also happened. So as per the content being spread from certain YouTube channels with links to Pakistan. So as a result, the Indian government is now reconsidering how much legal protection these digital platforms should have when it comes to user posted content. Okay, all right. So now let's understand what is this safe harbor provision. So imagine if you're having a bulletin board. So bulletin board is it? The bulletin board is posted there. So everyone can, whoever is there, you can post your notices there. It's no restriction is there. Whoever is there, he can post the notice board, whether it be drawings or whether it be answer, whatever you don't have. So you don't have any control over that. The person who was put that notice board there, he has no control on that. Okay. All right. So that's the role of the digital platforms like YouTube. They host the content. They host the content, but they cannot create it. They are not the ones who are creating it. Whoever is having an account, they can directly post it like a notice board. So under the section 79 of this IT Act, 2000 Act, so as long as they are responsibly, they can't be punished. For someone is posting, if I am going and posting something, YouTube or Facebook or the platform cannot be punished for that particular user's post. This is something known as a safe harbor. Okay, so it will be having it will be granting them legal immunity. Platforms aren't liable for the user content unless they actively help spread it. For example, if your Facebook is giving more reach to that content compared to the other posts, then they might be under threat. Okay, so basically it's a passive role. For platforms modifies or promote the content, it loses the protection. But if they are not aware of it, randomly if that post is happening, then they'll still have the protection will be there. Okay, but still they need to follow some government rules also, like publishing the regular compliance. They have to have a regular compliance report should be. So that has to be given to the government, and also there should be grievance redressal offices. So if anyone is having a complaint regarding the post, they should be approaching the grievance redressal office. From there, escalation mechanism should be there. Okay, and also there is an obligation to remove also. The government or the courts notify them about the illegal content. At that time, they should be taking it down. Okay, so this is what the section 17 and as well as the safe harbor provisions are saying. Okay, all right. So what happened in 2021? November 2021, what happened was like the government introduced new intermediary rules. So according to these new intermediary rules, these made it mandatory for these big platforms to want to track the originator of the harmful message. Okay, it should be, they should be able to track. The government is saying that we need the source. At that time, they should be able to track, even if it's anonymous also. Okay, and also this appointing of grievance redressal officer, this was also mandated. And obviously, if there is a request to take it down, they should be responding within that particular stipulated time. Okay, but again, here also there is an issues there. According to the government, many platforms are slow to respond. Slow to respond, by the time itself the news will be spreading like wildfire. So they had to be wait. They had to wait to be flagged. So rather than actively stopping this particular spread, okay. So that's why after the Pahalgam incident, the ministry, IB ministry, okay, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So they had proposed some big changes. Big changes means the safe related to the safe harbor rules. They're actually planning something big. Okay. Now these platforms, they have to actively monitor the content. It should not be like it is only the government's responsibility to notify, but they have to actively monitor. Okay, they have to have strict deadlines for removing this harmful post, maybe introduce penalties for delay or even negligence, and even uh, give the legal authority or fact checking agencies, especially the PIB will be, the Press Information Bureau will be there. So now, as of now, Press Information Bureau is the agency which is actively involved in this. So they should be given more control over this. Okay, and also centers even appointed, even approached the Supreme Court also. Supreme Court challenging High Court verdict that restricted the PIB's power to flag this thing. Okay, all right. So the problem, what is actually the problem? What is this? All this leading to? Okay, platforms like this intermediaries like Facebook, YouTube, X, all these things, they may have to invest in better AI filters. It's impossible to do it manually. It's impossible to do it manually, but they have to invest. Their investment will be more. Better AI filters need to be there, or maybe even human moderates itself should be necessary. And they should be appointing more people so that the reporting systems are better. Reporting system. But what is the problem here? Here also one problem is coming, that is right to freedom. Sorry, right to speech. Right to speech under Article 19. So that is also coming here. So if the platforms are forced to take down the content, okay, it's according to the government will be saying. If it's something, if, so according to this, even if we are posting something criticizing the government, they should be, the platform should be taking it down. So obviously this is something which affects the freedom of speech. freedom of speech. So that is a major issue which is happening here. Okay, so now we need to ensure whether should the platforms be made responsible for everything the users post. If yes, how do we ensure that that doesn't silence the voices of the people who are using it or maybe the common man's voice. This is the major issue we are facing. Okay, all right. Now moving on to mains practice question. Moving on to the mains practice question. So related to the first topic which we have discussed, that is related to judiciary. So how the Constitution of India ensures both judicial independence and constitutional supremacy. So evaluate whether existing mechanisms of judicial accountability are adequate. So you can start with what is this judicial independence or judicial accountability and how the Constitution has given them the supremacy in that. So like that you can make an introduction. So after that in the body you can explain how this safeguards which have been given that ensures the judicial accountability and also show how it ensures the constitutional supremacy also. Okay, how it ensures judicial accountability, how it ensures the constitutional supremacy, and also you have to evaluate the existing mechanism. For example, the impeachment mechanism, the collegium system, NJA system. So like that way you have to evaluate and give your opinion. Okay, so finally you can conclude it by saying that there should be balance between independence as well as accountability. So like that we can conclude it. Okay, all right. So we'll see the prelims practice questions of yesterday's daily news analysis. The prelims practice questions of today's daily news analysis will be available in our website navigator.narayanias.com. So that will be posted in the link will be posted in the chat box also. You can click on that link and attend the quiz there itself. So we'll be discussing it these questions in the tomorrow's daily news analysis. Okay, all right. So these are the questions of yesterday's daily news analysis. So consider the following statements regarding the Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI). CBI was established by an Act of Parliament in 1963 following the recommendation of Sandhanam Committee. Okay, so here it is written like it was established by an Act of the Parliament in 1963, which makes it a statutory body. Okay, CBI is not constituted by a separate act of the Parliament. It is actually constituted through Delhi Special Establishment Act only. Okay, so basically it was created by an executive resolution, which is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So which makes this statement wrong. Okay, so this is actually the act derives the legal powers only from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. So this is correct. Next one, the CBI can investigate case in any state without the state's permission, as it is a central agency. So even though CBI is a central agency, it cannot directly go and go and investigate case in any state. That's not the case. The state government has to give a consent. A mandatory consent is needed for this uh, thing. Okay, CBI. So this statement, which makes this statement also wrong. So this is correct. So A, 2 only is a correct answer. Okay. All right. Next one. Yeah, this is related to small modular reactors. Consider the following statement. Small modular reactors are designed to be built off-site and assembled on-site, enabling a faster deployment. Yes, this is correct. It can be done in both areas. So they can provide stable electricity supply regardless of weather conditions, unlike solar and wind power. Yeah, this is also correct. They can somehow give stable electricity. Okay, like this continuous electricity, that is one of the advantages. They are immune to nuclear waste generation, making them fully green technology. No, SMRs are not fully green technology. Okay, it's not completely a, we cannot say that it's completely a source of green energy. Okay, so which makes this statement wrong. So this is wrong, this is right, this is right. So correct answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Okay. All right, next one. This is related to the Forest Rights Act. Okay, Forest Rights Act. The act provides rights to allocation of forest land to fulfill infrastructural needs of the community. This is correct only. Okay, this is the basic thing about this act. Next one, the Gram Sabha is authority to initiate the process of determining the nature and extent of individual forest land. Yeah, the Gram Sabha is the lowest point of consent. Okay, So obviously this is also correct. So correct answer is C, both 1 and 2. That is the correct answer. Okay. All right. So these are the questions of yesterday's daily news analysis. So these are the questions of today's daily news analysis. So you can go to our website navigator.narayanias.com. So the link will be posted in the chat box. Click on that and you can attend the questions there itself. So we'll be discussing this in tomorrow's daily news analysis. 3 questions are there. Okay. All right. So that's it for today's daily news analysis. Thank you.